Hi everyone, my name is dtanguyen2. Today I will send my Project2 for MST300 Introduction to Microsoft Cloud Technologies. I confirm that all the work you are about to see is entirely my own. As you can see in the top right corner of the answer puzzle, I log into my Cloud Lab account and the current day and time is November 2025. In this demonstration, I'll show you a complete load-balance web infrastructure using Azure services, including an internal load balancer, two web servers in different availability zones, Azure Basin for skill access, virtual network peering for cross-network connectivity, and Driver DNS for full verified domain name resolution. First, I will demonstrate skillly connectivity using Azure Basin. Azure Basin is a platform as a service that provides skill RDP and SSH access to virtual machines without exposing them with public IP addresses. I'm connecting to my client virtual machine, which is located in virtual network 2. This VM is running Windows 10 and will act as our user machine, accessing the load balance website. For authentication, I'm using username and password. I'll enter my password and connect it. We are successfully connected to my client VM to Azure Basin. Notice there's no public IP address on this machine. Our connectivity is handled securely through Basin service. Now let me show you the load balancer configuration. I create an internal load balancer named MST300-LB. This internal load balancer, which means it only operates within Azure private network, its front-end IP address is 192.168.25.4 and is located in virtual network 1 named vnet1-subnet1. In the backend pool section, I config MST300 backend pool, which contains my two web servers. As you can see, both web server 1-VM and web server 2-VM are the member of this backend pool. They are the server that will receive traffic distributed by the load balancer. The health group monitor the health of the backend server. If you actively toggle on port 80, check in every 15 seconds. If a server fails to respond 3 consecutive times, it's marked as unhealthy and removed from the rotation until it's recovered. Finally, my load balancing rule defines how the traffic is distributed. This rule is on TCP port 80 forward traffic to backend port 80. Use the backend pool I saw earlier and rely on the health group to determine which server can receive traffic. The idle timeout is set to 15 minutes with TCP reset enabled. Now come to the critical test accessing the load balance website for my client VM using a fully verified domain name. I open in the website. Instead of using an IP address, I'll use a fully verified domain name I config in my private DNS zone. Excellent, the page has loaded and as you can see, I connected to my web server 1-VM. The page has a yellow background and display my student ID Windows server title. This proof the DNS resolution worked, the load balancer routed my traffic, and web server 1 responded. Now let me demonstrate the load balancing in action. I will open browser in private mode to avoid caching issue, to show that the traffic is being distributed between both servers. You can notice that the page change from yellow to green. The load balancer is randomly distributing my request between web server 1 and web server 2. This random distribution ensures both servers access the workload, and if one server is failed, the other can handle all traffic automatically. Now let me show you the specific configuration of both web servers. This is my web server 1, as you can see clearly. The page title at the top of the browser says my student ID Windows Server. The background color is yellow, and the body text status, this web page is hosted on web server 1-VM. Now let me show you my web server 2. Now we are on web server 2. The page title shows my student ID web page. The background is green, and the body text reads, this web page is hosted on web server 2-VM. Both web servers are running Windows Server 2019 with IIS installed and configured with this custom HTML page. Importantly, I deploy them in different availability zones. Web Server 1 is in Availability Zone 2, and Web Server 2 is in Availability Zone 3. This means they in physically separate data center within the region, providing fault tolerance. If an entire data center fails, my website remains available. Now let me demonstrate the network architecture and virtual network peering. This network uses my web server and load balancer are deployed in virtual network 1, MST300. That's VNet 1. This network uses the address space 192.168.25.0/25. However, my client VM is in completely different network, virtual network 2, that's VNet 2. This network uses 192.168.25.128/25, a non-overlapping address space. To enable communication between these networks, I configure the virtual network peering. Here, you can see the peering connection between VNet 1 and VNet 2. The status is connected, and the peering is bidirectional. Both networks can communicate with each other. This is how my client VM in VNet 2 can access the load balancer and web server in VNet 1 using private IP addresses without any traffic leaving outside network. Finally, let me show you the private DNS configuration that enable fully verified domain name resolution. Within this zone, I create a private DNS zone named mystudentid.mst300.com. Within this zone, I create an record named www that's point to my load balancer private IP address 192.168.25.4. This DNS zone is linked to both virtual network 1 and virtual network 2. This link enables any virtual machine in either network to receive www.mystudentid.mst300.com to load the balancer to the load balancer IP address. This is how my client VM were able to access the website using a fully verified domain name instead of remembering an IP address. To summarize, I successfully demonstrate a complete load-balanced web infrastructure in Azure with an internal load balancer distributing traffic between two web servers in different availability zones, skill access via Azure parsing with no public IP address, virtual network peering, enabling cross-network communication, and private DNS resolution, providing fully verified domain name resolution. All components are functionally correctly as demonstrated. Thank you for watching. This is my Cloud Lab account. current day and time.